check. All right, everybody, welcome. Feel free to come in and have a seat. Before I pass it over to your councilman here, I wanted to quickly give a few different housekeeping things. Jason in the purple shirt in the back there, if you have a question, he's got forms for you. He will bring those to me, and we'll call you up, and you can ask your question here, or if you're having any issues mobility-wise, we'll be happy to get a microphone to you if you don't want to come up. And then also, obviously, based on the volume, to make sure we get to as many as possible, we just ask folks to keep it to a 3-minute maximum to be able to get to whatever questions that you need. And again, just we want to make sure that we're respectful of everybody's time here and everybody's capability to or opportunity to answer a question. And so again, thank you guys so much for being here. We got a lot happening in this district. I would argue from an activity standpoint and an investment standpoint, no more activity in a positive way than what's happening in District 7. And that is thanks in large part to Councilman Wiggins' advocacy, whether it's all of the renewal and rehab happening with the kayak launch, the bathrooms and the amenities at Sanders Beach, to Fricker Center, which will be the largest single investment financially in the history of the City of Pensacola into one community center, $9.5 million grant funded. That will also provide a senior center. It'll provide workforce opportunity with Career Source, educational opportunity through the school district, and some health opportunity in our partnership with Baptist Hospital there for some senior health and wellness things. So that is in full steam right now. We've had a couple meetings at Fricker Center to get the ideas from the community about what they want to see. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, from a time and size standpoint, is the project at Baptist. So I will throw it to Councilman Wiggins for some welcome remarks, and then we will give some introductions so you know who you're talking to up here. I know this is going to be kind of hard to see. And then before we kick it to any questions, I at least want to have Erica Grand-Cagnolo to my left, your right. She knows more about the Baptist project than any, and I know that there's going to be lots of interest and questions about how things are going there. So I thought I'd allow her to give a brief overview, and if you have any additional, more detailed questions, happy to answer those as we move along. So again, thank you all so much for being here, and I'll pass it to Councilman Wiggins.
Thank you, Mayor. And again, just want to echo some of the things that he said. You know, first and foremost, thank each and every one of you for coming out to District 7 Town Hall meeting. This is your meeting. This is an opportunity for you to ask questions. This is an opportunity for us to provide you updates with what is going on in District 7. I want to thank each of you again for coming out. We're excited about this meeting. We're excited to provide you with updates for Baptist, again, Fricker Center, the Pensacola Motor Lodge. You know, we do own Gibson. We have a lot of great things in store for the Alice Williams building. That's just 2 blocks south of where we are now. And so it's a lot of great things that are going on in the district. And again, I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and also sharing your ideas. You know, this is our community. And so let's make what is best for our community by providing us with information that you guys want to see in our community. And let's make our community better and also make our community safe. So again, thank you for coming out. And I do look forward to speaking with each and every one of you. So again, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, staff, for coming out and also providing us with this information. So which way you want me to kick it?
We'll start introductions with Amy over to our left, if you'll pass that microphone down. In the meantime, I see Cliff. Is Adrian here, or is she here yet? Okay. So Cliff Collins in the back is our new Associate City Administrator. He's going to do a great job on strategic initiatives. We were actually talking a lot about Baptist Hospital, as a matter of fact, this afternoon. And so we're glad to have him on the team. We didn't want to put him under the fire of all your tough questions up here on his second day, so we felt like we wanted to give him a break. But please make sure he's going to do a great job for us. So is Adrian. Make sure you introduce yourself and allow him to introduce himself to you. And he is up in the mayor's office helping us work on these big projects. And again, District 7 probably has more of those big transformational projects than any district in the city. So Cliff, glad to have you. And again, make sure you introduce yourself if you have the chance. And we'll start with Amy.
Sure. My name's Amy Tudor. I'm the Public Works and Engineering Director here at the City of Pensacola. My umbrella is stormwater, street and traffic operations, and engineering.
Good afternoon. Erica Gran-Cagnolo, Economic Development Director, and our CRA agency is also under my umbrella.
Evening, everyone. Tim Kinsella, and I'm the City Administrator. Sorry to say, just for the next week, but I'm here to answer your questions in the meantime.
Hello. Oh, there it is. I'm Jenny Craner. I serve as your fire chief. The fire department provides, of course, fire, medical, and rescue, but also we have the emergency management function of the city and fire inspections office.
Good evening. I'm Kristen Brown, and I'm the acting chief of police. As you know, we have our patrol units, our detectives, our community outreach, and of course our administration that houses our dispatch center. It's good to see you tonight.
Hi, I'm Daryl Singleton. I'm the Director of Pensacola Energy, your natural gas provider and sanitation services.
Good evening. I'm Kerry Shanigan. I'm the Interim Parks and Rec Director, so all the parks, resource centers, and after-school programs in the city fall under me.
All right, and I'll kick it to Erica. We've done a few of these around town over the years, probably 21 of them, I guess, divided by 7, doing one every year at least. But I will tell you, because of the questions we get, we try to make sure, and we confer with our council member to have the right folks here that can answer, so from Parks and Rec to sanitation, to be able to answer as many questions as we can. If there's a department up here that in the city that is not here, we will do our best to answer a question, or we certainly can follow up with you. So don't feel like if it's not one of these departments, you can't ask it. We'll do our best to be able to accommodate that. But Erica, if you can give us an update on Baptist.
Okay, sure. I'm one of those people who likes to stand and walk around when I talk, so this is challenging for me to sit here. But I want to start out by saying I have a stack of business cards here. I know there are a lot of questions in the community related to Baptist, and probably some of you in the audience will have questions that you'll think of later or as time goes on. So please grab one of my business cards and reach out to me absolutely anytime with any questions. I am happy to take all of your calls or emails, whatever questions you have, I'm here to answer. As far as an update, where the project is, we have an executed donation agreement with Baptist. We're hoping to close on the property toward the end of September. So at that point, the property will be under city ownership and city control. So what that will allow us to do is to move forward with executing our contract for demolition. I would expect that the actual demolition activity is going to start around the end of the year. And of course, we will communicate that with you all, and we will be very public in terms of what that timeline looks like. We're also in the process of procuring an owner's representative, which is, if you're not familiar with construction projects, that's someone with certain level of expertise that will oversee the project for us. That owner's rep will mean that someone will be on site during the demolition process every single day, monitoring the demolition team, making sure that they are doing absolutely everything that they are supposed to, related with compliance for all state, federal, local laws, rules. Any type of environmental compliance will be monitored and documented for all hours of construction. So that's just one safeguard that's very important to us to have in place for the demolition process. Tomorrow, we will also, our procurement office will also put out another RFQ, excuse me, and that's for a redevelopment advisor for the property. And that is probably something that I imagine most of you are very interested in as well. Given the complexity and the scope of this undertaking, this is well beyond something that I in the Economic Development Office can manage effectively. So we are seeking someone to help us identify the next steps in this process and to be the primary point of communication with the surrounding neighborhood related to any efforts moving forward with redevelopment. So we will have our procurement, our RFQ will go live tomorrow. So that process will take us, again, probably toward the end of the year. We'll have that redevelopment advisor selected. A huge piece of a huge component that this entity or group of entities will be evaluated on is their plan for communication and engagement with the surrounding neighborhood. So please be aware that that's something that's very important to us. I'm happy to share that RFQ with any of you all who are interested. So like I said, just grab a business card and we can talk through what that looks like. If anyone is interested in participating in these processes, again, reach out to me. I can get your information and we can talk about how to make that happen. So I can answer any questions you have.
All right. Thank you, Erica. I will go through these speaker sign-up forms, and we'll start with Kate Carpenter.
Hey, good evening. I'm Kate Carpenter. I'm with the Sanders Beach Neighborhood Association Board. Thank you guys for taking your time today. We just had a few things with Tim Kinsella moving. We needed a new ACW point of contact. So I'm sure one of y'all might be able to help with that. Okay.
Well, welcome, Cliff, on your second day.
We wanted to get you started.
So yeah, make sure you catch up with him.
Okay, I'll connect with him before the end of the evening. Also wanted to ask about any updates on the Sun Trail, if anyone can expand on that.
Sure. Let me just qualify that. Are you talking about the Sun Trail portion on the western portion or east?
Yes.
Or the Sanders Beach portion? Sure. So we met with you all at this Sanders Beach Community Center, I think a month or so ago, and we got your input about the alignment because that was something that was really important to us. The original alignment was supposed to be down just Main Street, and then with the railroad that provided complications, so we are deviating off of Main Street. And we took the community input and we're going to provide that to our design consultant. And so they should get underway at the end of the year here to get going with the design and the feasibility of the alignments to get that moving forward.
Okay, awesome.
And to add to that, and for folks that maybe, certainly I know you're very engaged in everything happening in the neighborhood, there was a conversation about whether it would go down Cypress or that we would design it down Pine Street.
Right.
And as I always call Pine Street, of course I live very close by to that, I think it's the only unpaved road left in the city, or pretty close. It's a dirt road, ultimately, that runs along ACW, and this, I think, is one of those instances of hearing community feedback and saying, hey, is this a better way to do it than we had originally, and maybe that adds an amenity along ACW for the long-term future,
right.
And accessibility, and I know that that's the direction we are now moving along with FDOT, is to divert it down Pine and then around the Cypress eventually. So we appreciate the community's feedback and neighborhood's feedback on that.
Yeah, I know the neighbors are really excited and appreciated to have the opportunity to do that as well, so thank you guys. Really the last thing is the kayak trail that will be happening in the Sanders Beach Park. I know we heard there may be a deadline of December 2026, so we were just wondering kind of the rest of the process on that.
Can you hear me? There we go. We've just let the bid for the restroom and the handicap kayak launch down there, and that should be getting underway in the near term. As far as the trail is concerned, that's under development, and we're working with our outdoor rec people for that information. But I don't believe that there's a drop-dead date of December 26th that it has to absolutely be done, but I'll check and get back to you on that.
Okay, great. Yeah, we just don't want to miss out on that grant money, for sure.
Yeah, the boat ramp, the ADA kayak launch, it'll include upgraded picnic shelters and upgrade park furniture, lighting, and sea turtle friendly type lighting.
And there'll be a person that will make sure it all is cohesive and beautiful for our kids in the future. That's my neighborhood, so of course.
No, we're not going to.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, there will be a project manager that actually works in the Parks and Rec department that's going to be running that program, so he's going to be intimately involved.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Next, we have Ellis Jones. We can bring a microphone to you.
Good evening, everyone. I spoke at the last city council meeting, and I especially focused on the Chappie James Memorial Plaza. At that time, I spoke during the Leroy Boyd Forum, and so I basically spoke to the mayor and to the city councilman, and there was no feedback. And so I decided to come tonight to bring up the same subject, the status of the Chappie James Museum, because the status of the Chappie James Memorial Plaza. I remember reading and hearing that as of July 1st, the stewardship agreement had been terminated. And I'd like to have both of you, the councilman and the mayor, speak to the concepts of reinitiating that effort with the foundation, because we're talking about a tangible item, and we're also talking about some items that are intangible. We're talking about a community, we're talking about preservation, we're talking about emotions, and we're talking about continuing the legacy of John James. And so I know that there are certain constraints that you consider, but I'd like for you to talk about those constraints and having the effort restarted, kickstarted again. Hopefully both of you are behind it. But, you know, as part of the community, I really relish the fact that there is a tribute ongoing. Don't want to see it stopped. And I want to see it in place with the same plans and desires as the foundation had originally expressed.
Thank you for your question, and I will allow, Tim has been intimately involved day to day on this project, and I do know that there's a little bit of misinformation happening amongst some of the folks involved in terms of exactly where we are. Number one, the first money in for this project, to be clear, which I don't take credit for because it was actually in and invested, I believe somewhere around $250,000 or $300,000, was by the city council and by the city of Pensacola before I was mayor. That's how long that the city has put up funding in support of the project. In addition to that, Chappie James, certainly a hero from this community. We just cut the ribbon on an enormous expansion to the Chappie James Museum. That is something that the city took on, CRA took on. It was a big, long project, a very complicated project that had lots of project cost changes and overruns, and we were able to get that across the finish line. That was a great event in the last few months. I will let Tim give some additional detail to exactly where we are. I will attempt to do it at a higher level, which is we continue, as we have been for months, completely at the ready for a project that has the funding to be completed and to be a good partner. Now, what's getting a little bit confused is there's a particular stipulation that is getting offered, that the county funding that is being discussed has a contingency that if that source of funding is deemed not a viable use of those funds, that then the city would be on the hook, which makes to us no legal or logistical sense. So in other words, if TDC funding, bed tax funding, is to be used for this monument, and the state of Florida decides that that is not a suitable use, that's not even our decision. That's not happening at the city level. That's happening at the county level. But there's a stipulation that has only been given to us that says, you must sign off, city, if you accept this, you must sign off that whatever if the governor comes back, if the attorney general comes back and says you're not allowed to use bed tax, you, the city, are on the hook for that. That, we believe, is a completely unfair expectation on the color of money that doesn't have any impact on us. All we've been ready to do is be completely at the ready with the first funding in. We maintain, and Tim can add more detail too, because he's been in every one of these meetings, that when the funding is there and we know that it's going to be completed, not half completed, but that the funding's there to be completed, We have never stood in the way, nor I'm sitting here telling you now, we are at the ready to help see this project forward. But there's other nuances about how it gets funded that have nothing to do with the city that need to be worked out between the foundation and the county and wherever they're going to get their money, that somehow we keep getting drugged back into and we really have nothing to do with. So I'm telling you right now, we would love to see it. We have already put our money where our mouth is. We've done it with this. We've done it with the museum. And so we have certainly walked the walk in that sense, and we are willing to continue to support it if it makes sense for the city. But I'll allow Tim to elaborate some on that.
Thank you for your question, sir. The mayor did a pretty good job, but I think I'll maybe add another way of explaining it. So when we do a stewardship agreement, the argument is that the city needs to do a stewardship agreement in order for the foundation to get the money. That's not, and in the stewardship agreement, we have to agree that the money meets these certain criteria. That's not how stewardship agreements work. Give you an example, at the Veterans Memorial Park Foundation, we have a stewardship agreement with them for them to take care of the plaza there. Nowhere does that say, does the city have to agree on the color of money. When we take a grant from the state or from the federal government, when we receive that money, we don't have to say that, yeah, we agree that this is the type of money. The way a stewardship agreement works is that whatever the organization is that wants to do whatever they're doing, they secure the funding, and then once they have the funding in place, then we work on a stewardship agreement with them, because once they have the funding, that shows that they can do what's required in order to build the plaza or caretake it, whatever it may be. At no point does the city get involved in the funding, because it's not our funding, it's the foundation's. So between the foundation and the county, they got to figure out, they have to figure out between them how the money can be spent, and then if it's the wrong color money, that's on them. It would be fiscally irresponsible for us to write something into the stewardship agreement that says that we agree and take the onus that it's according to a state statute when it has no place in such a document as a stewardship agreement. So from us, we're ready to do it. It's just that we're not going to be painted into a box to agree to do something that would be fiscally irresponsible for us to do on behalf of the citizens' money. That's really where we are. We're ready and willing, ready to do it tomorrow. And if that money came from the general fund, then there wouldn't be a question. But it's only because the county wishes to use money that's TDT funds.
The next question we have is CJ Charles. It's also about the plaza. So if we have not answered that fully, we'll take that question as well.
Good afternoon. My name is CJ Charles. I'm the project manager for the Eastside Neighborhood Improvement Association, and I'm on the board of the Chappie James Museum. I don't mean to be redundant, but from where I was sitting, I didn't understand half of what you guys were saying. But so I'm here to try to get some clarity on two issues. First issue is the Memorial Plaza. If the requirements of the state can be satisfied, is the city willing to offer a realistic extension? Considering all the time and effort that has gone into this project, you have a plane that was acquired and redone. It's ready to go. You have a statue that all it needs now is bronzing. It is sculpted. It was sculpted by a 90-some-year-old man who is probably not going to live long enough. If you decide to do the project tomorrow, the man will probably not live long enough to see it. And that's a shame. That is a real shame. My thing is this. A city's statuary is indicative of the mindset of the community. You could go anywhere in the South and you see Confederate statues, and we're getting ready to have these things put back up. Well, you have an opportunity to put up a statue of a positive individual, somebody that was a great spokesman for the United States. He's a local hero, and it will be a very fitting tribute. Also, I wanted to ask about, there's a rumor going around that the city is considering taking funding from the Hollis Williams Park to use towards the cricket thing. Is that true?
Well, I'll always address the rumors first because I always find myself in the rumor business. I will say this, that's absolutely untrue. So much so that would be illegal for us because all funding going to Hollis T. Williams and all funding going to Fricker Center have federal and state guidelines. So even if we wanted to, which we don't, even if we wanted to, we don't even have the legal capability to do that. Those are two completely different buckets of money as it pertains to that project. But again, I'll let Tim respond to your Chappie James question.
Sir, I agree with everything you just said. I'm a 33 veteran United States Navy, and Chappie James is one of our great national heroes, and he deserves to be recognized as that. There is no disagreement on us on that. The city has no place to decide whether the money is legal or not. That is not our place. That's the county to decide. And the county can give the foundation the money at any time. They can do it right now. They can do it next week. They could have done it a month ago. It is up to the county how they distribute those funds. And once those funds are distributed, we're ready. But the city should never have to. It actually wouldn't even be legal for us to say, yes, that money is legal or illegal. It's not up to us.
But would you guys be required to reevaluate or renegotiate your agreement?
We're doing that now, sir. I just met with the foundation. I just met with the foundation yesterday. And we want to see it moving forward, but we legally, physically, we can't, because what they want us to do, it would be absolutely wrong for us to try and in any document to make a legal decision on whether the money was right or wrong. That's not ours to make.
And I know it's a complex, multi-layered, multi-government issue, and this is the oversimplified analogy I would use. It would be the equivalent if someone came to you, anybody listening came to you and said, we're going to give you $100,000 to build a house. Now, but before we give it to you, you have to sign this piece of paper that says that if this money isn't legal for you to use for building a house, it's your problem. All of us would say, wait a second, hold on. Wait, well, then I don't want to use this $100,000 if you robbed a bank to give it to me, and that is now not legal for me to build a house with, and now it's my responsibility. That's a very oversimplified analogy for what the county is saying. Hey, we've got money we want to give, but we don't want to give it until the city takes responsibility of whether this money is legally given or not. And that is where our discomfort is. It's not in supporting the project. So all we're asking for is have the county take the responsibility or not put the stipulation on the city. They should just say that's their decision to decide if it's legal or not. It's not our decision. So just give the money to Chappie James and let's get going. I mean, I think is the point. So we are in full support, and I echo, I know the councilman wants to speak to this too. I will echo, there is no debate of the deserving nature of this. It's about the mechanics of getting it done, and I can promise you everybody up here is doing their best to make it happen.
Yeah. And again, just echoing what Tim and the mayor are saying, we're in full support of it. We from the moment it started to now, we've been in full support. I don't think the issue is with the city of Pensacola. I think it's the county. And so we've been in support from day one. Even when the plane came in, you know, we were there in support of that. So we've been in constant contact with the county. But the holdup is the county. It's not us. And, you know, I can tell you, it's not one council member that sit on that dais is not. We're in full support of it. So. It's not us. I just think the hang-up right now is, you know, the money situation is, and also within the county.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
There we go. All right, we've got Dakota. I don't want to. This is Della Farah. Hope I got that right. Sorry.
You did. Mine seems trivial after that.
No such thing.
I want to say thank you to all of you for everything you've been doing in Pensacola. I've lived here for 4 years, and I do see a lot of major changes, and I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful for you posting when the meetings are on Instagram, because I am a millennial. So I have a salon on V Street and Cervantes, and I'm grateful that that big dumpster was finally removed, but there's so much just garbage all the time. And I find myself every morning and every evening coming in, and there's just garbage everywhere. It's disgusting. The roads are broken up. And now with subculture not there anymore, the grass isn't being taken care of. There's so much flies, bugs, rodents are coming. There's cats everywhere. And I love the cats, don't get me wrong. But I think there has to be like maybe more code, because I've called code on this particular business several times. And I'm not trying to be a nuisance, but it's affecting my business. And I am a hairdresser, and I do have luxury services. I mean, I have people coming from Destin to come see me. I've had a client come from Fort Myers, fly in for the day for me to do their hair, and then come back. And when they see all that garbage, or the streets cracked, the grass just overgrowing subculture, or the disgusting rug hanging over the fence and the gate. This could be as simple as just maybe adding trash cans to the corner, or when we do, because me and a couple of the other business owners have called code, and code calls me back and says, well, they're not in violation. I'm like, it's filthy. It's filthy. There has to be, this is how disease spreads. This is how, you attract just more filth. And I'm not sure how to go about it. I'm absolutely happy to help in any way possible. I just really don't know the way. And if I can be guided, I will absolutely take your guidance. But it's affecting my business. I mean, I have on the corner, I don't know if you guys know Slim Fly Alterations. She makes gorgeous dresses, and we're in that field that it's important that the aesthetic of the business looks clean. At least clean. I'm not saying that we need to look like we're on Madison Avenue. I'm just saying clean, and I don't know how to get that done.
Yeah, well, thank you, and thanks for your investment in the city. Small business ownership is certainly never easy, and it's always something new, some challenge every day. So I certainly sympathize with that. So thank you for investing in the city. I'll let Chief Brown, PPD is also code enforcement works under PPD. And then also I would just want to make sure V and Cervantes is very close to, so when you call code, making sure whether you're on the city side or the
It should
county
be the
side.
city side because of the garbage cans.
That's the best indicator, black or green.
Black.
Okay. So I'll let Chief Brown take it.
I'm glad you brought this up. I will personally look into this with Supervisor Spikes over code enforcement, and I would like to go out and take a look at it as well. So I'm going to get with you after this. I'm going to exchange numbers, so when I'm coming out there and with Supervisor Spikes, and we'll look at the problem and get it solved.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and great job, guys.
Thank you so much for coming. All right, we have Anthony Brown. Didn't want to speak, but I'll read the comments so we can address it. Please discuss the VO bikes continuing. I know several people who use this service. I have seen tourists driving them downtown too, but there is a curfew/cutoff time, which is way too early. The VOs are quite a polarizing topic, depending on where you are in the city and where you live, or whether you're a visitor or whether you're a resident. When this initially started, and the change was made, if you recall, if you've been here long enough, you know that there were actually the bird scooters, the stand-up ones, that were causing even more issues than the seated ones. And it was actually right before Mayor Robinson left and I was sworn in. Me and him had a conversation about one of the challenges that we have with this type of multimodal transportation, of which philosophically I am a huge supporter of. I use it when I'm in big cities, but there's usually a very clear line is, do we have the infrastructure? Do we have the built environment of which to support them? And when you go to a larger city that has protected bike lanes, that makes it a little more clear and accessible about how people use them. And unfortunately, that's a very heavy lift. That's a lot of infrastructure to build. But the biggest issues that we have, and the reason, this isn't, I just want to be clear, this is not the mayor's opinion or the councilman's opinion or Tim's opinion. We try to deal in fact and deal in data as much as we can. So when VO, we had a call with VO a few months ago because their contract was ending. And we discussed it. We asked the question, well, what kind of feedback have you gotten from users? And there had been maybe 10 surveys or something in the last year, and it was only from customers. And my question was, at the end of the day, I was elected here by the residents. Have you asked the residents of the city, all over the city, not just downtown, about how they feel about it? But do they feel that it brings a value, yes or no? So we got those survey results back. We shared them with the media, I believe, today. And overwhelmingly, folks saw that more as a hindrance to sidewalk, to pedestrian use than they saw as an asset. Secondly, I know the question was just asked about being able to use it to get around town. I actually just got a text from a friend about it while we were sitting here that uses it to get downtown, and I certainly understand that. But we also have data on that we have down to the minute almost of when VOs get used. And the vast majority of VO usage, the vast majority across the week, across all geographical areas, is somewhere on the 2 or 3 streets in and around Palafox between 10 p.m. and midnight. So, and we can actually track how many people are actually using this as kind of a daily commuter, and the numbers were extremely low. So we all would agree, I think, everybody in the room would agree, that if this was a multimodal service for helping access, for folks with access without a vehicle, I think we'd all be in support of making that easier. But the data is not supporting that that's how this is being used. It's being used in a different way as more joyriding on the weekends in the middle of downtown. So I like using them. My friends like using them. And what I told the media today is we are perfectly open to other solutions. We're not saying never. We just know that the current iteration and how it works right now just isn't working. And so I love the idea of manual bicycles that aren't motorized. I love using those when you go downtown and having a bike share like that. But it's very expensive and a big subsidy. So that's something that we would be willing to look into the future. So I know some people will be disappointed that VO isn't going to be here. It'll be here till November 1st. But we are open-minded about other options, and we'll take a look as we move on. All right, Chris Kerb.
I have a couple of questions. Just got off the phone with Gloria Horning, and I'm speaking on her behalf. What is the status of her elevation, HMGP elevation grant or buyout, whichever one y'all end up with? I know if you have to do a buyout and tear it down, then you have to do a grant modification. Have y'all processed that application for a grant modification?
That grant application is still with FEMA. It is on them to do their evaluation, and they've gone back and forth with us, and it's still with them.
4 years?
There was some back and forth with them, and they'd asked to do some additional information and additional investigation.
Typical stuff.
We're not immune to 4-year delays with FEMA either. By the way, we still to this day, I believe, have Port and Wayside Park things from Hurricane Sally. So I will say, in addition to that, yes, we've been in conversations. I know Brad and Dina and our team have looked into if those could be dollars that could help relocate versus raise that same funding. And that we're looking into that actively right now. And I believe we've got some positive news on that. So. But I've been emailing back and forth with her as she's asked, and we've tried to update her as best we can.
Well, I will say that is a smart decision considering that whole drainage basin right there in Washerwoman's Creek where Old Stinky is a big high hazard flood zone, and it's a bowl right before you get to Bruce Beach, so it fills up. Oh, and we're building stuff in it You know, when you take a cup of water and you drop an ice cube in it, it rises. When you build stuff in a bowl, it rises. The floodplain rises. If you do buy it out, it does have to remain in conservation. It can't be built on. I'm pretty sure y'all know that.
And that would be, obviously that would be the reason behind it, would be because we understand the issues of building that.
The second question I had is something that came up in, went to a meeting in Holt, and Don Gates, Senator Don Gates, and Representative Nathan Boyles had a meeting with Florida P&L. They built a 600-acre solar farm called Kayak Solar Farm, and it blew out in a barely 100-year storm according to NOAA rainfall data. It was 7 inches in 4 hours. And I looked at the drainage calculations, and I testified there with DEP on this, and they used 1979 rainfall data that DOT has archived and says do not use in design. You know what the problem with that is? Your ponds are smaller, and they don't function. You know what the mitigation plan is? Expand the ponds. They're taking tons and tons of mud and dirt that washed into the wetlands of the creek or Wilkerson Creek, and the private properties down gradient, which were completely destroyed by mud and sediment. I'm talking about tons. 600 acres of sediment washing off a construction site. You can imagine the damage. You can go to Flood Defenders Panhandle. There's some photos of that on there. But the question I have for the city is, I think it's chapter 339.157, FDOT's resilience action plan, that in 2022, state legislation required DOT to come up with a resilience action plan based off of federal NOAA current rainfall data and sea level rise. And what resulted is in 2024, DOT abandoned their 1979 rainfall data that Escambia County, City of Pensacola, Santa Rosa County, and Okaloosa County is still using. Most of the rest of the state has updated to the NOAA rainfall data, a federal data, not something that's been archived and says not for use in design. I've told Escambia County and Santa Rosa County, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. It's a losing lawsuit, because when you're using rainfall data and you're allowing engineers to design stormwater systems that are under capacity, and you're using data that says do not use in design, an attorney's going to jump on that in a heartbeat. So my advice to y'all is to consider that and update it. Thank you.
All right, Jermaine Williams.
How y'all doing? All right, I just got a quick question, maybe a comment. Baptist, the Pensacola Motor Lodge, what are we going to do with that in these neighborhoods? I ask specifically because of the gentrification that's going on in this area. There's less and less black people here, and my fear is y'all going to do something with Baptist and don't include us. Y'all going to do something with the Motor Lodge and not going to include us. So I propose to you, Mr. Mayor, and everyone else, Councilman Wiggins, that you guys put together an oversight committee to make sure we have a voice at that table. Because there's a lot of, I was born there. I live on E and Lee, 2 blocks from there. I used to work there. And what goes on right here directly affects my house. I don't know where you guys live, but I could walk home from here. And my neighborhood don't look like what it used to, not even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, let alone 15 years ago. So what I don't want to happen is y'all turn Baptist Hospital into something that benefits who you may want to be there. I don't want to project that on y'all, but a lot of my neighbors ain't there no more. And I'm just going to be totally honest, besides, I know Councilman Wiggins, the people elected him. Besides the new guy, I don't see no black people up here. We don't have the chief no more. So I don't know what seat at the table we're going to have when y'all close those doors. So I propose that y'all have an oversight committee, at least put some of us on there, people from that neighborhood, from this district that has been here for years, that's still here, because we want to have a say on what happens. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Jermaine. All right, Gerald, where you at? Oh, there you go. Did Jermaine leave? He walked out.
I think he had
to leave. Well, I just wanted to just comment on that. Nobody is more passionate about Baptist Hospital and a lot of these other projects than me. I want to make sure that everyone has a voice in what's being built at Baptist, as well as what's going to be built at Pensacola Motor Lodge, as well as Gibson School that is currently under the control of the city. And so I want to make sure that you guys know that no one is more passionate, no one is more involved in what is going on with the city, and of course, just having you guys here to give us your input is most important to me. So rest assured that my hands is heavily involved in Baptist Hospital, as well as any other projects that's especially is in my district. So I just want to just reiterate that I'm heavily involved, and I do want to have everybody at the seat of the table.
Thanks. Go ahead, Gerald.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Mayor Reeves, Councilman Wiggins, I kind of don't know anybody else up here at this table. However, but I don't live in this district. I live on the west side of town. I lived in this area when I was in high school. I grew up where I played at Perkins Center, basketball, whatnot. But my concern is the community as a whole. I don't like to separate the city of Pensacola from the county, because we're all Pensacola. And wherever I can lend my hand and my voice, I would do that, regardless of where I live. Had the pleasure of meeting with you, Mayor, a couple weeks ago. We sat down and talked for a couple hours, and we had a very good conversation. And Councilman Wiggins, you know me. So it's I really don't have questions. I just want to focus on a few points here. As far as the city of Pensacola, the community, and when I say the city of Pensacola, I'm including the city and the county. There's a lot of issues that we have to address. There's a lot of issues that we have in the, particularly the black community, where the black community do not feel like they're included. And in our conversation, Mayor Reeves, we talked about transparency. We talked about inclusion. We talked about having people participate. I don't know if Jermaine left or whatever. We actually talked about a committee to talk about issues here in the city of Pensacola as well. There's a lot of issues that has to be addressed, and I don't have enough time to go through them here. We talked about the transparency issue. You know, a lot of the disconnect come from people not knowing or not being told what's going on or not being informed. You know, we can't turn on Channel 3 News and hear what we need to hear, because their segments are, I hate to call it garbage, but their segments are garbage. We get no information from the local news here. So we have to try to bridge that gap between the community and our community leaders, such as yourself, such as our council members. Also, what I want to point out is that I talk about you quite a bit because people think that you are the lone wolf. You are not the only person on this council, on the city council, and you can't make things happen by yourself. So I push back on a lot of people when they say something that they ain't got no business saying or don't know what they're talking about. But issues such as the gentrification that we talked about, man, you talked about this as well, the gentrification, we need to be more transparent when it comes to housing. There's no such thing as affordable housing here in Pensacola. It's not affordable. It may be attainable, but it's not affordable. You can attain it, but can you maintain it? And we need to get back to where people can actually afford and maintain housing and stay in the city limits, because a lot of people in the black community feel they're being pushed up to the north end of the county and out to the west side of the county because you can't afford to live down here. The tan yard is non-existent anymore. I mean, the community is here. Every time I come down to Pensacola, I see something that I didn't see the day before, type of deal. So we need to work on that. Also, I haven't met the new chief yet. I had conversations with the former chief and the chief prior to that. Community policing. We have to get a hold on community policing. We have to get a hold on issues such as profiling, things of that nature. I don't know where you stand because I haven't had a conversation with you. I've had extensive conversations with Chief Simmons at the Sammy County Sheriff Department. And I'm one of those people that hold people accountable. I hold people accountable. So I look for an opportunity to speak with you and get your views on what your views is for the city of Pensacola as well. So, because public trust right now with particularly the police department and I can't speak on other communities, I can only speak on the black community. There's not a lot of trust, public trust in policing and the communities. We got to get out of this. But y'all know I'm straightforward. We got to get out of this MAGA mentality. MAGA mentality is destroying this country. It has destroyed this country. And if we bring that to Pensacola, it's not going to be a pretty situation. And that's one of my concerns. And again, I don't have enough time to talk about all that as well. But at the same time, I don't have questions, but I want to know the city's position when it comes to these. I know the DEI situation. There's a pushback on the DEI situation. I want to know the situation with the ice raids that are taking place. What is the city of Pensacola doing in regards to these ice raids? Things of that nature, things that separate classes of people. And we know everything that's going on, excuse me, everything that's going on within the MAGA community is separating one class of people from the rest. So I would like to hear anybody speak on that as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. I'll have Chief mention specifically on whatever ICE efforts, if any, are happening here. But I guess I'll share what kind of the same mentality I just gave when the media asked about personal opinions. I think in many ways, can you not hear me back there? I just give me 1 second, or if you can fill out a form. At the end of the day, we feel like there's some primary functions when you're at the local government level. And yeah, certainly enjoyed our time getting to know you and some of your concerns. I will tell you, one of the most difficult parts of my job, and to Councilman Wiggins, I know I can speak for this, is, but also one of the most rewarding is all the things you see on TV and all the things that you hear about on whatever TV news station you deal with, 99% of that isn't what we're dealing with. What we're dealing with, we are here in a town. People make decisions in Tallahassee and in Washington, D.C. They aren't in a town hall that night. And we are, and with that comes great responsibility, great complexity and difficulty, and rewarding when things go right and things go well, is that you're really out on the front lines to be able to watch people's faces and that they get to enjoy whatever that new thing is or something that they think is important in their city. So it's, someone might think that that's an evasive answer. I'm just telling you what we focus on every day inside City Hall and at every city facility around is doing our best to get services done on time, making sure you're safe where you sleep, and all of those different things. So, was it people difficult here? You know what? Give me this. Will you hand me that mic?
No, you're good now. It was the feedback.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. How about that? Sorry, we got two mics that are on this speaker and then one in here. So I will speak for the city in the sense, and I'll let Chief Brown speak to some of those specific things. But the bottom line is, everybody that's up here, every council member, all 75-ish people that work at the City of Pensacola are hyper-focused on being able to deliver you service and make sure that we're safe where you sleep. We, frankly, don't have time to be dealing in all the political rhetoric that's happening that you might see on TV at home at night. And so it's not because we don't hear it or not because we don't see it, but we got too many other important things to do because we're sitting in here with you and we face our constituents every day. Our constituents hold us accountable every day. And so we frankly don't have time for lots of the political distraction that's happening in and around the country. So that doesn't mean we're going to agree or disagree on every political issue. It just means that I just want everybody in this room to know that our eyes are on the prize, which is keeping you safe where you sleep, trying to provide you as good service as we can, trying to make sure your park's clean and cut, trying to make sure that you can get around the city and all of those things. So I just want you to rest assured and know that I can certainly speak for our staff knowing that is our primary focus every day. All right, I'll pass it to Councilman and then to Chief.
And Gerald, just to let you know, my biggest problem is we have multiple boards. We have CRA boards, Westside Garden District, Chan Yard. It is hard to get people to come to the meetings. And so a lot of the information that's being put out is being facilitated through those particular boards. And also that information then reciprocates and come back to us. And so we have a lot of boards that we need filled. And a lot of people are not putting in for those. And so I would love to sit down and talk to you about that and see how we can better improve as far as putting people on those boards. But we are working to try to, work with the community to see what we can do. Because I want to foster that communication. And so that's one of the things that I just want to tell you. And I don't know how we can do it, maybe how we can, better improve. But we have boards right now that have a lot of vacancies. And a lot of people don't show up. And so love to sit down and have that conversation with you, Jermaine, or anybody. Because we want to make sure that this is inclusive to everyone and not just one set of people.
Okay. Well, actually, you was reading my mind, so that's what I was just about to suggest, that we do sit down and have a discussion on what's available, what's there, what need to be there. Like I say, Mayor Reeves talked about the same thing, so I would love that conversation. I got your number. We'll get together and we'll talk. Appreciate you.
I'm glad to say I don't need the board to talk to you. And it's a pleasure to meet you. And I will talk to you. I will talk to you. I will talk to anybody. I have been in 5 weeks. I've got my feet under me. Unfortunately, there's not a notebook of contacts for me to reach out in the community unless I'm getting just input from other law enforcement agencies. The sheriff, deputy sheriff have been very helpful with me making these contacts. But if you haven't heard from me, then please contact me. I'm going to meet with you. We're going to talk. I want you to understand our agency. I want to understand more about your community. That's how we're going to work together. As far as the ICE concern, I can tell you what the Pensacola Police Department is doing. Per the federal mandate, we did select one officer to act as a liaison with ICE. That was all that was required at this time. Our liaison is a detective in our criminal investigation division, and to get this position, he had to do an online course with ICE. That was about 4 hours. He got certified in this course. It was a read-only course, and we have had no further communication at this time. Now, what we've done for as long as I've been with the department, if we have encountered an undocumented individual that has committed a crime in the community, there is a form with their arrest that would go with their arrest to notify ICE that we believe that this person would be undocumented. That form is still in existence. We're not changing anything. We're not making a phone call. It's a piece of paper that's a file, like a note card that gets attached to the arrest report. And I can tell you, since the 5 weeks I've been here, we haven't filled out one. So we're keeping up with what's required, and we'll do what we're supposed to do, but it's not something active unless we're encountering it, because we are encountering them in a commission about to commit or has committed a crime.
Thank you. We got Jay Baines.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Jay Baines. I'm with the Tan Yard Neighborhood Association. I've lived and worked in the city for the last 40 years. I'm a retired engineer that's been in the development business. So living and working and focused on the engineering in the city, I'm finding that coming ahead, and I'm going to get with Amy and Erica to come to the Tan Yard to explain a lot of these points. But we do have some major concerns coming up, and the two big ones and points I wanted to make was traffic and stormwater, as we've all been talking about. And real quick, we'll go through a couple talking points of 6 items, not asking anybody to give me feedback on it, but I just want to get on the radar. I felt like over the years we've tried to get on the radar. We've filled out the surveys, but they've fallen on deaf ears. So hopefully this is something that we can look at and discuss. Whether you love them or hate them, number one, dealing with traffic is roundabouts. I love them and I hate them. But the one onto the beach over there by the Chappie James Park is a great example, but that's a big roundabout. The one over there at Southtown is a smaller roundabout, but it functions well. And right now, with all the development that we have going on and the progress, which is good in the Tan Yard, with the new apartments that are coming in, Main Street, we're at capacity. Government Street right now is quadrupled in traffic flows with everybody going through all the detours. But that's just part of progress. So we're used to it. But I would think right now might be a good time. We could take a roundabout, shrink it down, make it a temporary roundabout, and especially along Government Street. I would say A Street in Government, the Villars in Government, Spring Street in Government would be 3 areas where we could just try putting one roundabout. Even Roost Street is something, you know, when the Wahoo game's over and we shut down Main Street, wow, it's congested because we get to the 4-way stops and it just, nobody, and then all of a sudden 2 people go and then next thing you know it stops. So it's not flowing smoothly. I would like to see, I guess, somewhere in there, we put a 10-foot diameter, we put a temporary roundabout, some little lighting and advertise what we're doing just to see if they're going to work. Because when we have the new apartments coming in, we have 600 new units, and then you got Hard Rock coming in, Main Street is full. It's full today. And once we get this other traffic coming in, Government Street's going to be full and Main Street's going to be full. We need to address it and be ready to address it. So I'm just thinking roundabouts right now. Let's throw a couple temporary roundabouts to see if they do work. So that's the one thing I'm looking at that's concerns on traffic. And I think we need to kind of get ahead of the game because it's congested right now. And VOs, I never was a VO fan, and my surveys were not negative, not positive, but now I love VOs. You know, it's just the only way to get around.
The day we announced that we're getting rid of them. Now you tell me.
Number 2, and you don't have to get into it, but if we have some time, is the South of the Villars drainage project. The gentleman had spoke earlier. We know we have a problem there where the new apartments, the old treatment plant, which is the lowest point in the city, it is a bowl in that area. I think one of the solutions we could come up with, a lake would have been great, but obviously that wasn't the most sustainable. But we need to open up the Washerwoman's Creek. We're all dumping in it, and I think that's our choking point. So if that's something, whether the drainage, the South the Village drainage project, is that engineers looked at it, that I think is an area that's the low point that needs to focus to give us some relief. So that's what I'm looking at there. The state block, Roos, Intendencia, Romana, and De Villers, the state parking lot for Chappie James building, that is, it's used 1/4, and it's a lot of wasted parking lot is all it is. I would love to see that. And DeSantis owns us. He owes us because before his time, we took out I'm going to say there was a dozen heritage trees when we were going to put the FDLE building there. We tore all the trees down for parking, and then FDLE backs out. So there was a lot of trees that we've lost in there. I would sure love to see them come back. That could easily be a lake, but put some more trees. I would make it more of a park than an asphalt parking lot right now. That was a point that I have. I guess also DeSantis is we've got now a no-wake zone law. And finding that on Government Street, as Government Street floods, and it's going to flood more often. When we get these short peak storms, buses and trucks are still flying down Government Street, and I get flooded once or twice a year. Yeah, I had to put the sandbags on, and it's not from the water, it's from people traveling down Government Street. Main Street is everybody gets off of Main because it is the lowest, so they traverse down Government. So whether we get cones to put them up or do something, but our buses and trucks, we just need to try to slow traffic down if we can. So, am I 3 minutes up?
About 4 minutes ago.
Last but not least is the Government Street we got underground power all along Government Street except from Ruth Street to DeVillers, and we got all the lines that are back up. It would be nice to get all the entities involved, ECUA, FDOT, FP&L, and get the utility lines back down.
Got it. Jay, thank you. And I will let Amy give an update on the largest stormwater project we've had happen here in the 10 years. And it's why people are on Government Street. I take it every day too, Jay. I'm going back and forth there every day. I would say the good news is, if you think about it, right now, even though it's a little slow at the four-way stop at A every morning, other than that, we are withstanding all traffic that would go on Main Street. Think about people from the base to the beach to Gulf Breeze, back and forth, is all taking place on Government Street right now, and it's still holding up pretty well. But as it pertains to stormwater and the 1,600 houses that are going to have a positive impact because of that closure on Main, I'll have Amy give a quick update on that project. Jay, thanks.
Can you hear me? Oh, good. No, I think we have some exciting times right now on the south side with the B Street project. That, as you know, is fully under construction right now. And the biggest part is upsizing that outfall along to B Street, which will then connect into the Garden Street project that FDOT is doing. So there's some stormwater relief coming along Main Street, and we have several years worth of projects along the Main Street corridor to help alleviate that stormwater issue. So that is moving along quite well. Additionally, which is outside of the district, we have the 9th Avenue Stormwater Outfall Project that'll be wrapping up here in the next month or so. So there's a lot of stormwater projects that we have going on within this district. We have some that are under design for our, Strong Street. That'll be done at the end of the year, and then we have programs funded for construction in the next couple years to actually construct that. So we have a lot going on in those areas. Any of the developments that come along, they have to meet the developmental criteria and the water management district criteria and hold their stormwater on site. So I know that's been some concerns with the areas around DeVillers. We continue to keep an eye on Washerwoman Creek and, keep that maintained. So I hear what you're saying on those. That's the things that we keep an eye on just because of the whole Bruce Beach area. So those are the challenges, widening that up and letting too much into it, but before just holding back the water and treating it before just putting it into Washerwoman's Creek. So.
And I'll say I have that same, over the years growing up here, my mom lived in Perdido, so I drove by Old Stinky down Main Street 10,000 times. And I think even we look for the little things too. And I'll give an example. Amy and I are already in conversation that during rush hour on Main Street, where it gets backed up at Joe Patty's because there's one person wanting to take a left and then only 3 or 4 cars get through. Yeah. And again, I live it not only every day at 41, I did at 3 and 4 and 5. So we've even talked about, can we add an extra can on that and actually have that be a turn and go ahead and get that 1 or 2 cars that are blocking it up? So yeah, we evolve the best way we can, and certainly our public works team keeps an eye on the stormwater side and the traffic management side to make sure that we can withstand all that growth. So thanks for the questions. All right, we've got 4 more before we get out of here. We've got James Gully times 3, so we're going to ask for considerate consolidation, Mr. Gully, on and hit these as quickly as you can.
I'm the kicking coach for Pensacola High's football team, and so finally found us a kicker and worked with him today. And but anyway, I've got a whole bunch of sheets, so tell me which one's first up, and I'll tell you what I'm doing.
License plate reader, LPRs. You got LPRs, then Fricker grants, then
and which
CRA landscape maintenance.
Which is the first one?
License plate readers.
Yeah. Well, this is probably going to be for our acting chief. I see, and this is, by the way, some people get upset about license plates readers, but this started with chief before he left, and so I saw some literature on that. But it appears that we're going to be getting some license plate readers. And I think they're going to be for 2-lane, and then they have a couple that will probably handle 3-lane. But anyway, I have the agreement here and everything. So I wonder if you would like to tell the people over here what's the possibility of some of them being over here on like Cervantes Garden or something like that, or have they set it up yet?
They have not set it up yet. The grant it is through a grant. It was just signed. We'll be getting 18 license plate readers to disseminate throughout the city. And can I just tell you how fantastic they are in crime fighting? We are so incredibly excited to have these. I know that I have a small list of areas that we want to hit, but I would like to get information from each and every district. Like I said, we have 18 where you think, or you know where the problems are, where we could put them.
I think in reading the master agreement is pretty much the people we're working with are going to basically make those suggestions, because it is going to tie in with missing and exploited children. It's also automated alerts for missing and wanted persons. And there's one feature now I got to ask you about: custom hot list, which means you can put somebody's license plate in there and it'll tell you when they pass them.
That's correct.
So you wouldn't want to put the mayor's license plate.
No, sir, we would not.
No. Then we'll know when he goes to the airport.
No, sir. No, sir.
I understand Ms. Brayer's sort of interested about that. The other thing is, I keep seeing the Hollis T. Williams things keep going up. Geosyntec did another work change order and everything, so they're well over $6 million on that. Some other things, I want to say this first. About the Fricker and everything, people don't understand how federal grants work. But because the federal government has the Census Bureau, and they have census tracts and census blocks, they know what the situation is with a lot of communities. So with Fricker, and by the way, I'd like to applaud Joel Holland. He is something special. You better be taking him to lunch every day, okay? But he wrote it up, and so one of them was 18 pages, but basically most of his dialogue is contained in 6 pages. So if you like to read what he had to say and everything. The other thing is, the reason we're getting the workforce is because the unemployment rate in that census block is 7 times what the state average is. So that's why we qualify for money like that. And at the same time, it's a health center. Let's face it, in the African American community, high blood pressure, diabetes are very rampant. And so I'm hoping there's a nurse there that, can do some things on that. The other thing is that helped to get the grant was the fact we're making it into a shelter. So that was another composite thing there. And it even mentions in the literature that Joelle wrote.
A storm shelter. I just want to be clear. A storm shelter.
Yeah, storm shelter. That, people don't have transportation. We have area housing right next door and everything. And so this makes it more convenient. Also, it even talks about, look, says people, and this money is coming on the backs of low and middle income citizens that live there. And it even talks about things like, low and middle income. They don't have renters insurance or homeowners that's worth anything. And so if we do get a hurricane or something, they're in very, very dire straits. I'll get it out in a minute. But if anybody would like to read about the grant, I'd be more than happy to let you have a copy of that. Since I see a bunch of people that's on the West Side CRA, I'd just like to say that, the city had two houses on the list to demolish. One on the west side and the other one was on the east side. So they have cut the contract for $6,925 to eliminate the one in Old East Hill. One over here, I don't know, maybe they need to write a check. The other thing, let's see, what else I want to talk about. Bam, bam.
All right, the clock's ticking, and you've got a field goal to make at the end of the game here, Coach.
I tell you, bud. The other thing is our ladies down there at the CRA are just writing contracts like crazy. Wallace Landscaping is, oh my God, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars they're going to take out on this thing, but all of the, particularly in the urban core, it comes to quite a tidy sum. And also, the Gibson School and half of A Street belongs to the West Side CRA, and that's about $51,000. So our ladies have been doing all kinds of good stuff down there. The other thing is this. This is one I didn't turn in. Mayor, I don't know if you've addressed it yet, but the Black Lives Matter on A Street, maybe you'll do that at a press conference or something, I'm not sure. But there's also the on-street parking is not correct either. They have the on-street parking to include people's driveways. And this is something that we told staff of CRA, I'd say a year ago. And they promised that Public Works was going to look into it and everything. And so, Amy, I wonder if you could check in that. It's probably about I don't know, probably a total of 10 driveways, something like that. If not, I'll call the new director over at Chipley about it. He's sort of looking at our Black Lives Matter, and I'll just suggest that that's out of code as well. But if you can assure me that it's going to get done, I won't do that, okay? Anything else? To leave anything off?
You covered it all, James. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being engaged. All right, we got three left. Jonathan Green, then after John, and he's got his crew here with him, so I want to get him in and out of here. And then Erica, then Marion. It will go in that order. We'll be all done.
Good evening, everyone. Wrote down to speak regarding the moving forward, where we're going with the chief. I understand Chief Brown is here in the acting capacity. And for transparency for the community to know, because I served on the police advisory committee as the co-chair under Mayor Grover Robinson. Normally, when a new chief takes office, or any executive, they are able to hire their own staff. So I believe in Chief Randall's contract, he was not able to implement new deputy chiefs and subordinate staff that in the transition to get metrics that he was resigned or terminated for, that in the future of who the city decides as police chief, that we let those metrics of what judgment will be known so that accountability can be more transparent if a mark was not met. In addition to that, the concern, for instance, Chief Brown, when you said that Chief Randall didn't come internally, like wasn't one of our own, but having served on the police advisory committee, a large portion of the reason Chief Randall was selected is because he was from Pensacola, Florida. He graduated Booker T. Washington High School like myself in a year prior to myself. But it goes more into the, we know being in Pensacola, Florida in the Deep South, that's the good old boy system, that if he's not one of our own, Chief, what does that mean? And how do we build community trust that's lacking when the community input? Because even with that, you should have had the mayor, you should have had the opportunity to appoint your own chief as opposed to the incumbent one taken in, but it's because of the work done beforehand. But how do we have that inclusivity?
Yeah, and let me address that. I'm not aware of any contract that the chief is on. So just to clarify, so there was no contract decisions, and even if that were the case, that contract would have taken place with the hiring mayor and the hiring administration. So, but I'm looking. Obviously, our HR department isn't here to confirm that, but I've never seen a contract, and I have no contract nor limitations on any director up here or that works for the city that they are or are not allowed to make decisions. Actually, really, in this administration, we've tried to empower every director that we have. Number one, if they are high performers and they're holding their staff accountable, therefore providing for our citizens, that we empower them to be able to make those decisions. Because the last thing we want is to say, well, you can't do this or can't do that, and then when it's not performing, then that becomes the built-in excuse. So I would say philosophically, we've changed that completely, that everybody you see up here is accountable to the results of their department. And it would be unfair for myself, for Tim, or the next city administrator to stand in the way of what they believe is the best ability to keep folks engaged. So I just want to just be clear, there is no contract that exists with the police chief for me or previous, and then I'll let Chief Brown address your other question.
When I spoke at the press conference, what I meant when I was talking about a disservice coming in to the police department was not about his community. It was about coming into the police department where he was not known and we did not know him and he did not know us, and the relationship building. And that is a hard job to walk into, not just here, but anywhere in the nation. And I felt that it was a struggle for all of us, and he wanted to lead the community and lead the department, and it's a struggle. It's a fine balance. I'm learning that balance. I'm appreciating that balance. Today, on my computer, I have Chief Randall's calendar next to my calendar, and I can tell you the engagement he had in the community was a lot. He had a lot going on in the community. And right now, I'm just basing and getting our department back on track as part as being internal and being together, and now moving out into the community to where I can get to know the community. I've been in the department for 30 years. I've worked with a lot of people that we've talked about or we're talking to as sergeant, lieutenant, captain, but this is a completely different role.
And, yeah, go ahead.
And I understand the sentiment in which you're expressing to also represent the community that I represent, being from Pensacola. The same sentiment that you feel the chief led internally in the department, that's how the community feels with the police department coming into our community, because it appears the police is distinct from the community as opposed to being a part of it. And that sentiment that you hold, I want you to have empathy and sympathy that we feel the same when you do decisions without us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John. All right, Erica Case.
Hello, Council. I just had two quick questions for you. One of them I know has been somewhat addressed in our community, but I've lived in other cities and I've never seen red lights run as badly as I've seen in this community. And I know that there was a project started to help address that, but it's in only a specific area as far as I'm aware. I would like to know how that is going and if they plan on expanding that to places like Garden Street and Palafox where people are walking on a regular basis. And I feel like every time I'm there, I see someone run a red light. So it's definitely concerning.
I'm going to start bringing you around town with me to explain this so when people ask me about red light cameras. So I'm with you, but go ahead.
No, so I was just wondering what the plan is to expand that, because it works really well in Gulf Breeze, it seems like.
Well, and I think that's the best analogy to give, is that it's well known in this community that if you drive through Gulf Breeze that you don't run that red light.
Right.
Now that took years of time.
Right.
And so, yes, we are at 5 different intersections. Those were not picked at random by a lottery. They were picked specifically with 1, 5, 10-year data on where we saw the most accidents and where we saw the most injuries. So 9th and Bayou, all 4 approaches, 9th and Airport, Fairfield and Davis, east and west, and then, let's see, 9th and Fairfield, east and west, and then the worst offender of all, which is 9th and Gregory, getting on the interstate right by the Bay Center, the one coming from the beach and going on, which is, just to give you perspective, we call them approaches. So one intersection has 4 approaches, north, south, east, west. We only have red light cameras at one approach at 9th and Gregory. It's just the one going west. It's a one-way road. There's 3 lanes. It's 31% of all combined offenders. And we actually just put out video on our social media today of just a snippet, because sometimes when you don't see the videos and you see the wrecks that happen because people are blatantly running red lights, we all have this vision in our mind that all it is someone's getting a ticket because they ran 2 inches past the line. We have humans look at these. In addition to the camera catching it, we make sure that it was an actual violation with a human being in our police department. But what I can tell you is that when you don't see it, people may think that. But when you just go on our social media today, and that's just 10 examples in the last 6 months of bad wrecks with potential injury, blatant running of red lights from the incorrect lanes, and all of that. And so, what we said is we would pilot it with those 5 intersections. Let's see how it goes. The goal here is to decrease crashes and not have our hardworking police department. They spend more time and resources. More of your money is spent on having 2 or 3 cops at a fender bender at one of these intersections. Instead of being circling your neighborhood, they're out at these intersections. And so that the amount of investment that we get back, the amount of bandwidth we get back in our police department, if we can lower these. But if it's not working, we take criticism saying, well, this is a revenue thing. If it was a revenue thing, it would actually be more revenue advantageous to put human officers out there who would write tickets that are double the amount that the cameras are, and all of that revenue would go to the city. So if it was about money, there would actually be a more financially viable way to do it. It's really about trying to save lives here. That's what our goal is. And I hope we lose money on these traffic cameras, because if we lose money, that means that no one's running red lights, and that means no one's getting hurt or killed. And so I appreciate you.
So is it working? Like that? That's my question.
We're 6 months in. It's kind of hard to say. I think it would be unfair to say, hey, after 1 month, this is up and this is down. It's going to take a cycle for us to look at that. But we wanted to make sure that the equipment was working correctly. We didn't want to go out and say, we're going to do 20 intersections. Let's see how this is working, and let's see if we see a market improvement. Because if it's not improving, as I said the day we put them out there, is that, we should always remain coachable and flexible. That if this is not an experiment that's helping increase public safety, then we'll got to go try something else. And so, but I can tell you that pilot is in full swing, and we put out some data today that's out there. It's on our website and all that stuff too, and we got a big FAQ on there as well. So anyway, more to come, but we're about 6 months in now with those 5 pilot intersections.
Okay, thank you. My second question is I am a homeowner in the West Garden District, and I think this is probably a lot of different areas, but we have a very bad feral cat problem. And in other cities I've lived in, there's a catch and release program that helps really minimize this. I mean, it's sad for the animals because I'm a cat lover. It's sad because it spreads disease and it also depreciates property value. I heard there was things to help before, but right now it's out of our own pockets if we want to try to get those animals fixed and released, which I have personally done. Is there something that the city is looking at to help with this problem? Because it multiplies every spring, of course.
Yeah, this is one of those difficult things because the animal control element of our city is also run by the county. It's run countywide. We don't have, the city doesn't have a specific shelter or specific animal control, but certainly if you'll give us an address or give somebody on our team an address, and we'll investigate and see if there's something that we can do, or certainly pass along to the proper folks that can help with that. That's just one of those resources that is run at the same way the county court is. That's one of the resources, or ECAT, that is run through the county. It's not specifically through the city. So
we would have to go to a county meeting in order to plea for like a catch and release program?
Well, I would say yes. At this point, that doesn't mean we can't be helpful. I just mean we don't have, in other words, if we were to go to your neighborhood right now, we don't have the resources nor the infrastructure nor the manpower qualified to handle that. Again, the same way our bus system is a county bus system, the city doesn't have anything to do with that. That's just run by the county. We're all county residents. City residents are county residents. So that's just one of the departments that is under them. But that doesn't mean we aren't willing to be helpful. Just give us your information and we can get you in contact with the proper folks and see if we can move that up the chain.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. All right, last is Marion Woods. You don't want to go to the microphone? Oh, you need a microphone. Or is she not here? Oh, she left. Okay. She mentioned that the other ones were like entertainment jobs. I don't know what she means specifically, but she had a question about lighting in Pensacola. Just for the sake, it's good knowledge for everybody here. The puzzle pieces that are streetlights in the city of Pensacola, some are owned by the city, some are owned by FPL. Maybe give a little rundown of that for our citizens.
Sure. So if you basically see a light on a wooden pole, that's an FPL pole. They're the ones that maintain them. So if the street lights go out on those, what we have to do is just go to the outage map and we have to alert them that way. So you all are able to do that as well. More of the ones that are the decorative lights that you see on Main Street and those areas, like the black decorative lights, those are the ones that the city maintains and we go in and repair and fix when there's issues with them.
And just so you guys know, I've actually just had a recent conversation about, because I've experienced it as a citizen myself before I was the mayor, that a light went out and then it takes a minute to figure out whose light is whose, and that's certainly not at the fault of the city or the city engineering department. It's just kind of this thing that's happened over time that we've got kind of a hodgepodge of some lights are city, some lights are FPL, and I've actually even had some initial conversations with FPL about trying to simplify that in some way, just so we have a better understanding and our community has a better understanding of the street light that's in front of them so we can get it fixed faster. They do measure how quick they do get them fixed. If you have a light out, always call 311. I give a big shout out to 311 at every one of these town halls. When I started in this job, we had 2,000 open tickets in 311. So I told our staff I refuse to talk about 311 until we get it figured out, because I don't want to come to a meeting like this and tell you to call 311 and you don't hear from anybody for 3 weeks or a month. We right now have 55 open tickets in 311 and 0 that are overdue over time. So Lisa Dees and her team are doing an awesome job. So please use 311. Street light out. the feral cat issue, any of those types of things. Yeah, I was over my 3 minutes, exactly. But any of those issues, please call 311. That is the fastest. You put the onus on us to get back to you. If you want a recycling can, any of those types of things, it now becomes our job to respond to you in a certain amount of time. So that'll save you time and trouble from, let's say I moved that one away. It'll save you time and trouble from having to call a specific department, call a 7-digit number, figure out who to talk to, wait for a message to get back. Put the onus on us. It's our job to get back to you on 311. So just any of those issues, make sure you bring that up. So I'll...
And pictures. I love pictures when they're attached to 311.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even better. Okay, I'll pass it off to Councilman Wiggins to close it out. But thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate... I know that this is information you can share with your neighbors, and we are very appreciative for that. Our goal is to get the word out and make sure people know all the great things that are happening in the city and all the things that we can provide for you. And so thank you for this opportunity to hear what's going on in District 7. It's my home district, and I'll pass it to my city councilman.
Thank you, Mayor, and I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out to District 7 Town Hall meeting. A lot of great information was put out. And to talk about Jonathan, I do want to let you know that we do look forward to working with you and also the chief. One of the things that I do want you to know is that I've been in law enforcement 20 years, and community policing is very important to the people in the community. So we always got to continue to bridge a gap between law enforcement and our community. So looking forward to working with you and working with people like Jonathan and Haley and Jermaine and, of course, Gerald, to make sure that we're doing what is right for our community and also just educating people on how law enforcement actually works, and also getting involved with our citizens law enforcement academies and things like that, neighborhood watch groups. So looking forward to that. Also, we work very hard in the city, and I just met with Erica, our CRA director. We have neighborhood improvement programs, resiliency programs. And Erica, if you could just kind of give them an update on, what it takes to what we do with CRA, the grant funding in CRA, to come in and talk about how we can improve people's houses and things like that.
Yes. Does this sound okay? Okay. Fantastic. We have a fantastic team in CRA that manages this program. And so we have dollars available to assist in needed repairs to your home, whether those be roof repairs, whether there's new windows, new doors that are needed. Right now, there is a significant demand for this program. So we do have a little bit of a waiting list right now in the West Side CRA district. But Amanda is our program manager for that, and she is just absolutely fantastic. So if you have any questions or think you might know someone who's in need of this program, again, please grab one of my business cards and I'll get you in touch with Amanda. She can explain the program to you. She's again, wonderful to work for. So we do have resources available, and we're looking for your input related to needs in the community and within the West Side District. So please reach out. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys again for being here. I hope you have a great night.